This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your host, Brandon Cook and Nick Harrington.
Welcome back to the Hockeytown West podcast, your source for everything Grand Rapids Griffins and Toledo Walleye hockey. I am one of your hosts, Brandon.
And I'm Nick.
And I did that in one take this time. That's a miracle.
I was going to throw you off because I was going to say thank you right away when you said welcome back because I was gone last episode. And but you were on a roll, so I let you do your thing.
I appreciate that because not only last episode was there like 4 tries on that with Travis and me, there was still like 2 or 3. Like I struggle with the word source in that sentence for some reason. I screw it up almost every single time. But yeah, I do. I overthink everything. Come on now.
Sorry.
But you're right, man. Welcome back. You had a little bit of a time off from the podcast. You had to work. You had adult life to do. But how you doing today?
I hate adult life. Let's just say that. It's overrated. Why did we try to do this, I'm good. We had a crazy week, right? Which we'll talk about the O later, but we were in Saginaw, and then Sunday I was up in over in Detroit for the Tigers.
Starting to sound like me being all over the place.
Yeah, for you. You're all over the place.
It's a little tamer week for me this week. Last week, we had 5 games in 4 different cities. Yeah, that's what I had last week. Plus travel for work. So yeah. It was something. But we do have a lot to talk about with the Griffins because the playoffs have finally started. Thank God. It felt like forever without them playing there, but at the same time, I'm kind of thankful we had a small break because we could really absorb Toledo and what was going on there for them. Shout out to them sweeping the first round. We'll talk about that Thursday's episode. But yeah, I was thankful the Griffins had this break. I needed the break from them, and I was really excited to see them back on the ice.
It didn't feel like a break. It felt like it went by really fast because I felt like there was news every day, or at least every other day, that they were releasing stuff or things were coming out, and watching the other series as well. So yeah, it didn't feel like a break.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of action in the AHL playoffs so far. A lot of stuff we'll update on, but we'll get to all that at the end. Let's focus on the Griffins first, who had game 1 on the road, even though they have home ice advantage. We'll let everyone else try to figure that out. It was arena availability was the reason for Grand Rapids. That was the reason given. I think the Rise played here that night.
I think so. 5:00.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So the boys got to start on the road, and start they did. They ended up winning this game 3-2. I was pretty impressed. This was a really interesting game. So the quick rundown is Rockford scored the first 2 goals of the game. One in the first, one in the second. And then we went to the third period down 2-0 and wondered, can the Griffins do what they did a lot in the regular season and what we saw the Red Wings do a ton towards the end of the season? Can we see them come back and win? And oh boy, did they. 3 minutes into the third, Dom Shine got his first of the playoffs with Simon Edmondson assisting. Beautiful goal by Shiner there. And of course, it's him to really kick things off. It just felt right. And then 15-minute, 35-second mark of the period, Amadeus Lombardi gets his first of the playoffs, and what a shot. This was ridiculous. Beautiful drop pass by Tyler Spezia to set this up. Rafferty gets the other assist on this one as well after a hard-fought battle in the corner. Originally during the game, they didn't give him the assist. They added that on after. I'm glad they did because it's his big old hit in the corner, getting the puck to Tyler Spezia, set this whole play up. And then the game goes to overtime, and who else but the thorn in Rockford's side, the guy they target left and right, the guy that pisses them off every game, Jonathan Berggren, gets his first of the playoffs while falling to the ice, loses his helmet in the process. Carter Mazer and Shimmick get the assist on those. And the Griffins walk away with a 1-0 series lead as they come back to Grand Rapids this week to hopefully finish this thing off. That would be ideal.
That'd be sick if they can do it.
It would be. Shots in this game were 37 for Grand Rapids, 22 for Rockford. The Griffins dominated play after the first period, honestly. No team scored in the power play. Both went 0 for 1. Not a lot of penalties called in this game by any means at all. The refs definitely let them play. They were in playoff mode for sure. Sebastian Kosa gets the start in this one, stops 20 of 22. And Jackson Stauber, I got it right this time, stopped 34 of 37 at the other end for Rockford. So let's dive into this one, man. First, this was weird because going down 2 like that, we were both dramatically concerned during the game.
I'm always stressed. Like, this team, like, it just always stresses me out. I'm just trying to figure out, like, I mean, we outplay him. We hit 4 posts in the second. I mean, that was concerning. And so, but like watching kind of the video that they released today from behind behind the benches, from behind the scenes kind of stuff. Like it seems like they were pretty calm that whole time. Like they knew where they were at. They were confident, like what was going to be able to happen, and they were going to squeak out with the win. And playing Rockford 12 times this year already, like the whole series, they only scored 1 more goal than we did out of all of the games. So it's like this is going to be a tight series. It's going to be a tight game. So I wasn't surprised when it went into overtime.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting one. I'm glad you brought up the behind the benches thing they're doing. I'm really glad to see they're putting like a video series together of that on that. If you haven't seen it yet, go to the Griffins YouTube page, check it out. The first episode was pretty great. Bergie is the main character as always whenever the camera is on him, so good for him. But it was a fun behind the scenes look at the guys, even leading up to traveling to Rockford, the travel to Rockford, everything. It's a pretty cool video to check out, and I can't wait to see more of those throughout the playoffs. I'm assuming we're going to get 1 per game, which is awesome.
Oh, per game. Okay, I thought you.
Yeah, per game.
Series is what I understood.
Nope.
I was like, oh,
per game. But yeah, this it's stress. This game stressed us out, but obviously the boys were calm, cool, collected. They've done this before. They've done it all season long. And some guys really stood out to me in this game. First one is Austin Zarnik. Austin Zarnik played a playoff game from start to finish. He was rough and tough when he needed to. He was a true leader with the guys when he needed to be. He was making great moves at the puck on the ice when he needed to. He doesn't reflect it on the score sheet, unfortunately, but he stood out to me all game long. You could tell he's been here before. He's a veteran. He's a pro. And I mean, fresh off of a long stint in the NHL, he looked like that's where he belonged.
Yeah. So Sardik played really well. It was different because they did switch up the lines. He wasn't with his normal Mazer Bergie line. They switched it up a little bit. So, but he looked good. I mean, driving that line, making the plays that he needed to make, and giving us an opportunity. So, I mean, it was huge on Sarnik's side.
Yeah, I really liked what he brought to the table with that. And again, it didn't reflect on the score sheet, but if he plays like that every game in the playoffs, it definitely will. I mean, he was the guy that was out there generating energy. And in a game where you go down 2-0, that's what you need. Another guy, though, generating energy for this whole team, Marco Kasper. Oh my God. We've now understood what playoff Marco Kasper is going to look like. And it is an absolute menace. It's a wrecking ball. It is just this ball of energy that's going to piss everybody he plays against off.
I mean, everybody keeps saying that Carter Mazer is going to be that Tyler Bertuzzi type, but I think we kind of found him here with Marco. I mean, he has been such a pest at and he's not doing anything. When I was watching everything back the other night, he's literally just standing in front of the net, just chirping, and they're just clearing him out. They're trying to move him out of there. There was a little bit of a scrum at one point in the second, and I thought like it wasn't. I think they both went to the penalty box.
Oh yeah, him and Phillips went to the penalty box on that one.
Which I'm like,
I didn't think Marco should have gone to the penalty box on that one.
No, he's being held down, getting punched in the face. I'm like, why are you pulling Marco in there? He didn't do anything. So I don't know if he said something and maybe that's what pulled him in. But yeah, he was a pass. I thought for sure he was going to score a goal or two in there in the game.
Yeah, I was hoping he was going to get the game winner because it would have just set off that Rockford team more than I think they were set off already at the end. But we'll get there. But yeah, he was a menace. I loved what he brought to the table for this team, and I can't wait to see what he does with the rest of the playoffs. All I remember in one point in the game was there was 4 Rockford players trying to go after him at once, and he just kept skating away, trying to get around him, get out of there. Full just escape mode energy coming from him, but it was great. And like you said, he likes to stand over the net. He likes to chirp. There's the code in hockey, right? Like, stoppage play, you don't stand over the opponent's goalie or whatever like that. He rides the thin line of breaking every rule in the code, but he never does. He doesn't break it. He just gets that close, just enough to piss him off.
Just being like a little brother. Like that's what I can like imagine with him. It's just like he's just getting right there, right on that line. Like he literally didn't do anything wrong. He didn't, hit the goalie. He didn't tap him after the save. Like he was just standing there, and there it is, Marco getting escorted out of that area.
We ever get one of the veteran guys in this podcast, I think we'll have this similar situation where we did with Brandon Hawkins, where we go, got to ask you about one guy, Marco Casper, and they're just gonna be like, Jesus Christ.
Between him, Bergie, or maybe Luff, I think those are probably the three that give everyone the most trouble.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, you brought up Bergie. Let's talk about Bergie, because Bergie was Bergie was involved in something that turned out to be the center of controversy at the end of this game for Hogs fans. You can't see anything from the TV view. We cannot confirm nor deny what happened, but it looked like somebody from the Griffins hit a Rockford player at the center line during play. He went down. Another Rockford player looked pissed off and went after Zarnik. At that point, you've got two Rockford guys against one Griffins guy. While everyone else is focusing on that play, Berggren is skating in with Wyatt Kaiser all over him. He goes down with Kaiser on him and still manages to score this overtime winner in the celebration with no helmet on, because Kaiser, of course, ripped that off. That's his favorite move with Bergie. No helmet. Just the celebration was elite. It was perfect.
And his was elite, and so was Amadeus's. When he scored, like, I was fired up. I knew he was going to get something. And then going, like, Bergie just finishing it off there. I was like, of course, it's Berggren getting the overtime winner to send everybody home. Like, that, it was just crazy. It was nuts. I couldn't believe it. I was screaming. We were on Discord together, watching it together. But just absolute insane. And, yeah, it was, I don't know what happened. It looks like a player's bent over. I don't know. It's so hard to tell. I slowed it down. I sped it up. I played it back like 12 times, and it's just out of the camera, and nobody will talk about it. So, like,
no, and obviously the league hasn't done anything with it or anything like that. So there was nothing malicious enough that warranted a suspension or maybe even a penalty. Who knows? Rockford learned a key lesson that we got after the Griffins for a lot during the regular season, and it was you got to play to the whistle. Even when stuff happens, you got to keep going until you hear that whistle, or something might happen like what happened, and a goal gets scored against you. And that's going to cause Rockford to come out really pissed off tomorrow when they play Grand Rapids. I know it's going to be an absolute show when they're in Grand Rapids on Wednesday. But one thing we talked about with Berggren the last episode before the playoffs started was we were worried about his emotions. Can he keep his emotions in check, especially with Rockford all over him the way they are? I thought he did a great job in game one. I think he was very tame. He was still stirring the pot where he needed to, but he played it off like Casper does, where Casper can run his mouth and not take a penalty and not get into that situation. Bergie did that in this game. I saw a lot more well-behaved Bergie, and I love it.
More controlled burgers. He has to know that that's kind of their game plan, right? That they're going to go after him. They played him. I bet he's played every single game against Rockford this year. And that's their weak point. If you can get them riled up, they're going to go after him. And that takes us right out of our game plan. This game didn't have a whole lot of penalties. Like you said, they were letting them play. There were things that were like, why aren't you calling this on Bergie? The cross check to the back, like some of this stuff. And it's like, okay, they're just going to let them play. So we just have to adapt to the referees as well. You wish things were consistent throughout, but it's not going to be like that. So I'm nervous. That's what I'm going to be nervous about on Wednesday and Friday, is just how the refs are going to be, because these two teams can get crazy. They can get out of there, and Bergie can, get his retaliation in and kind of take away from what he does best, is scoring goals.
I'm not as worried about it as I would be during the regular season.
Wow.
Officiating in the playoffs is so much different across all leagues. You see it everywhere. I saw it a ton in the series between Kalamazoo and Toledo in the ECHL. We've seen it a ton throughout the NHL playoffs. I know you've been working a ton, so you probably haven't gotten to watch too many games.
Playoffs?
Yeah, right. They're in the playoffs. I don't know if you do that or not. But like officiating kind of goes by the wayside. Like obviously like egregious stuff gets called. Like Bergie getting cross-checked in the back to where he went down to the point where the trainer had to come out. that should have been called. But yes, they also missed stuff that we did to Rockford as well. I will say that there was a lot missed, but it was still fair on both sides. Like if this was let go, it was let go over here too. And there was a makeup cross-checking call for the one on Bergie. There was a little bit softer one on Philip Bruce that got called. Again, it was on Berggren. Ironically, their move is to cross-check him in the back. I don't like that that's their move. It's pretty gross and disgusting. And if that's what we're going to continue to see over the rest of the series, I'll be sure to call it out because that's not how you play hockey. Cross-checking to the back or the neck can do a lot of damage. We've seen that with, God, look at Dylan Larkin. Look what's happened to him multiple times. You can't have that stuff be happening. And that's, if you're letting teams get away with it, they're going to keep going with it. So I hope that goes away. That's a part of the game I don't like. You can push, shove, get a little hook in here, give a little swat here, like Aston Reese's stick magically exploding in front of the net when they're on the power play when that got slashed. We're like, okay, like it's the playoffs. I guess we're letting that go. And I just hope that's the consistency across each game. Now, if we go to the next game on Wednesday here in Grand Rapids and the first slight hook is called, the series can be a nightmare.
Well, that's what I started because Tuo got 2 minutes for tripping right in the first 30 seconds. And I'm like, oh,
that was a bad trip. I went and watched that slowed down. It was a bad trip by Tuo. He got his stick right underneath his skate blade. I was like, dude,
but I'm just like,
nerve something. I don't know what that was.
I'm just like, oh, are we going to call everything? Like, this is where it was. And then they didn't call anything the rest of that period. So I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe it won't be as tight as I thought. So,
yeah, the only penalties that resulted in power plays were the Tuomisto trip 30 seconds into the game, and then the Philip Bruce cross-checking 17 minutes into the second period. There was 2 roughing calls, one to Albert Johansson and Cini. They were going at each other all night. That was a fun one to watch. And Phillips and Casper obviously getting their roughing too. But again, a lot of things could have been called that weren't, and I'm okay with that. Like, it was fair on both sides. Well, I accept it differently in the playoffs. I look at that and I'll go from each side. Like, yeah, Rockford got screwed out of a few too, for sure. And if they won the exact same way we did, who knows? But again, I wouldn't throw a fit to the point where I'm throwing stuff on the ice if I couldn't see the play. Like the fact that Rockford fans were throwing full beers and stuff like that on the ice afterwards. Come on, man. Like, be better.
Waste. Yeah, what a waste of a beer.
They must not be as expensive down there.
It's probably more, to be honest. But yeah, if we could see the replay, that I'd probably feel better. Like I'd feel differently about it, but we can't. So that's where I'm like, and I'm sure the fans in the stands couldn't see it either.
If they were watching the puck, no, because that was nowhere near the play. That's where I don't think anything to the point where it warranted a penalty happened, because the play was so far from the puck in motion. Like no one was there. I don't understand. I don't know what happened. I can't speculate, and I won't speculate. I'll trust the officiating made the right call because I drag enough referees on the show anyways. So give them a gimme.
It's called growth, Brandon.
Right. And again, you're right. Like if we won, like, so I can say that, sure. But again, at the end of the day, would I be pissed? Sure. I wouldn't say some of the stuff we've seen online. I wouldn't be throwing stuff on the ice. Like, it's not how you act. It's hockey. It's a game. It's a game.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's a game.
And it's game one. Like this series is far from over, but it's these two teams are so close all year long. They've been close. They've been right there to the final game of the season. They were right there of passing each other. So I mean, it was just like you knew it's going to be a close game. It's going to be hopefully tighter and not as crazy as like the fights that we've seen previously. But yeah, it's just going to be. It's going to be a battle, just like what he said. Each game is going to get harder, and I think you see, I didn't feel like we set the tone the first period. I felt like we were kind of like testing the waters, and then the second, I feel like we really did turn it on. I think Rockford's going to bring it on Wednesday, and I think the fans are going to have to help, get the boys going and energized and ready. I'm mad you're going to be there. I'm not going to be able to make it.
Don't worry, I'll be loud enough for you. Yeah, like you said, the Griffins turned it on in the second period, which, they don't have a goal and they got scored against in that one. But that stat doesn't reflect like the level of play. I mean, they held Rockford to 6 shots in that period. Unfortunately, one of them went in. It was just a bad turnover in the front of the net and not much Kosa could do about it. He was in the right position for it and everything. But at the other end of the ice, Jackson Stauber came into this game on a 13-game win streak. Like, he's not anyone that should be looked past as a goaltender. He's an incredibly talented goaltender. He was one of my biggest concerns with goaltending when it came into this. So we saw that in action, and he's probably going to be their main guy for the whole series. We'll see what happens. Comeso's not a bad goalie either. Struggles on the road though, so I don't think we'll see him in Grand Rapids. I'm assuming we'll see Stauber, and I don't know. Hope the boys can solve them a little quicker on Wednesday. And we play better on home ice anyway, so we'll see.
Two of the goals that went against them were kind of the same style, so maybe that's their. It's right between the legs. Both go
up close, right between the legs. Yeah,
that first one and then the third one. So
not Amadeus' shot. Jesus Christ,
he buried that. And then our guy, so Ghost, he's the Wadi confirmed he's going to be the starter for the series until something crazy happens. So, and I thought he played well. I thought Ghost played well, stood up when he needed to, made some crazy saves. It kept us in it. I was like, as long as we don't give up on another goal, I think we've got this.
Yeah, he had some incredible breakaway saves, other incredible saves, but my favorite Coast highlight of the night was when you get to that scrum at the end and the camera pans over as everyone was in the scrum with Zarnik and whatever happened in that center line incident. And Costa's just in the middle of it because he stands above everybody. And all of a sudden the camera pans over and there's Costa's face. And you're just like, what are you doing there? And I panicked initially because I was like, oh God, he didn't cross the center line, did he? Like, because that could warrant a suspension. So thank God he didn't. It was on our end of the ice, but I was like, oh God, Coast, don't do that. No. Don't get in the scrum first game, get hurt. Good God. I love his energy. I love protecting and sticking up for a teammate. But buddy.
Yeah, he was probably right on that line of crossing the center line or not. Try to keep everybody separated, I would say.
I don't know. Maybe he should have thrown one to see if Stauber would come across.
Oh yeah, could you imagine overtime that incident? Then you got a goalie fight in the center on game one. Like this series would be a blast.
It would probably top almost anything that's happening in the NHL currently. So
yeah, what a snooze fest.
Some games, especially the Islanders. Anyways, yeah. Overall, though, those were the couple players we wanted to talk about. I mean, Amadeus obviously gets honorable mention with that incredible goal of his. I thought he played a really solid game. Again, not getting pushed around. He was able to stay on his feet, using his speed and skill to create a lot of opportunity. And I think every veteran player on the ice deserves kudos in this one. I thought they all played incredibly well. Like we said, Shine getting that first goal. Once you get a veteran guy to step up and do that stuff, everything else kind of starts to flow afterwards. And they all played well. I think Dimmick's going to be one of the most underrated additions to a team probably in hockey this year. I mean, he was playing third line pairing and still just such an impact that he makes on this team. I mean, obviously, you watch the post game videos. The boys like him. He seems to fit in pretty well on this team, and I'm happy with where the boys finished in this one. And like you said, it's going to be a close series. So this is exactly what we expected. I don't expect a blowout game at all during the series. They could prove me wrong tomorrow, but at the same time, I do not expect it. It's going to be a 1-goal game. There's going to be a lot of overtimes. I feel some double overtime nights that Van Andel come in. It's going to be interesting.
I'll be ready Friday. I don't know. Part of me is like they have won the season series against Rockford. They're going to come in. It's going to be close. It could go either way. But then I could also see it going like a full sweep where they just finish it out Friday.
I mean, if I've learned anything so far in these early weeks of playoffs across all the leagues that we talk about, the regular season don't mean shit.
Yeah.
I mean, look what Toledo just did to Kalamazoo after Kalamazoo wiped the floor with them all the regular season, and they just swept them in the playoffs. Like, that's unreal. So the regular season doesn't mean anything. It's a clean slate. It's a fresh board as soon as that puck drops in the playoffs, and who knows what Wednesday will bring.
Chaos.
Probably. But predictions for Wednesday's game. What you got?
I think it ends up being closer.
I don't think you can get much closer.
Wait for that. I think it'll be like a 2-1 game instead of a...
Oh.
Yeah, I think it'll be less scoring. I think they'll be dialed in. They'll play a lot tighter. we've got the home side advantage, one with the crowd and two with the benches. So that always helps us, especially against Rockford because they're quick on the change.
They're
So
very quick on the change. Holy God.
that's our weak spot. So if we were able to contain them on away when they've got the bench better set up, I think this plays into our hand a little bit better. And so I think we get both games, and I think Friday will be real close. Like I could see that one be an overtime game, just because I think Rockford will be on the wall. You know, I think their backs against the wall. I think they do go into Friday down 2-0.
I think if we're going to lose a game in this series, it's tomorrow. It's Wednesday. If we're going to lose one, again, I have high hopes that we could just go through this and get on to the next round. Because the opponents that we could possibly face are not easy ones to play against.
Yeah.
So we'll get there. We'll give a full recap of what's happened in the AHL so far. Well, I do think it's gonna be another close game. I would like a 2-1 win for the Griffins here, and this one, just like you there, would keep the trend going in goalies in this organization, not allowing 2 or more in the playoffs so far. Because Toledo's goalies were both the same thing. They didn't allow more than 2 goals in any game they played. So I would like to see that trend continue as long as the offense can match. And getting 3 goals in this game after where we saw the offense kind of decline a little bit there towards the end of the season, I'm happy to see some offense generated. So 2-1 or 3-2. I say I don't think we see OT.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be OT.
Yeah. No double overtimes or triple overtimes on Wednesdays, guys. We got jobs.
Maybe Friday.
Oh, that'll be a party.
That would be
Actually,
fun.
not really. They stopped selling beer after the second intermission at Van Andel, and most of the concessions close in overtime at Van Andel. So it's usually
just sneak them
terrible.
In. Yeah, just
Hey, now we do not condone that on this show. Oh, yeah. I don't even know what to say after that one. Yeah, we do not condone that. Please don't.
Yeah.
But again, Griffins take on the Rockford Ice Hogs at home, 7:00 Wednesday. And then the same team again, Friday, 7:00. There's a pig roast before the game downtown, which is hilarious and awesome and probably will be delicious. So be sure to get downtown early and check that out. It's fun to see the team doing fun things for the playoffs, like the watch parties and these video series and the pig roast. Like, this is what we want to see. This is what gets the fans' attention. I just wish you'd start seeing more downtown business. More downtown businesses support what's going on. Like, again, I walk through downtown Toledo. I can't go anywhere without seeing a Toledo Walleye logo. I'd love for the same in Grand Rapids, but we'll get there. It's been a while.
That would be sick if like everybody had some crazy happy hour or something along those lines. I mean, it's not hard to do. It's
really not.
Bring out the excitement. Bring out the game. What the AHL playoff package is $30. Okay,
yeah.
It'll pay for itself after a couple happy hours. Like, I don't know. I know this because I worked in the restaurant industry, so I know what like it makes sense. The maths. So
the math does math. It would be worth it. And if you can't come to Grand Rapids and watch it, be sure to check it out on AHL TV. That $30 deal is every team, every playoff round for $30. And there's some other highly entertaining teams to watch in the AHL.
Well, yeah, because now you're going to start seeing like the NHL teams that are eliminated drop their players down. So you still get to see some cool, good NHL talent.
Yeah. I'm excited. Well, let's send it over to DraftKings, meet our sponsor obligations there. And when we come back, we'll update you on the AHL playoffs across the league, some junior hockey updates as well, and whatever other fun shenanigans we get into in this one. So, Nick, go read the ad.
The chase for the Stanley Cup is on, and if you're looking to light the lamp, nothing beats the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. From the start of playoff beards all the way to hoisting of the cup, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with same-game parlays, live betting, odds boosts, and so much more. Unfortunately, the Wings didn't make the playoffs, so I'll be betting on the Dallas Stars at a plus 1200 to win the cup. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code THPN. New customers can bet $5 to get 200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours. Problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467369. In Connecticut, help available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Will Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. cdkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
And welcome back. All right, so let's dive into what has already happened in the AHL playoffs so far. And there's been some surprises here. And you can, if you're watching on YouTube, you already see us smirking about one of them. So run through them real quick. In the play-in, I guess it's not considered a play-in, but the best of 3 series that happened across the league already. In the Pacific Division, there's quite a few of them. So the Abbotsford Canucks knocked off the Colorado Eagles 2-1 after 3 games there. That one actually surprised me. Bakersfield got swept by Ontario 2-0. Tucson got swept by Calgary 2-0. Manitoba got swept by the Texas Stars in the Central Division 1, 2-0 as well there. So Texas moves on to play the Milwaukee Admirals. In the North Division, the Belleville Senators knock off the Toronto Marlies after 3 games. That one, you look at both of those teams during the regular season. We played both. Would you have pictured that? How that went? Like, I know
No.
Toronto's NHL team is still in the playoffs, and Belleville's obviously is nowhere near. But the Marlies getting knocked off by them is pretty funny. Did you see the festivities that happened afterwards?
I did. So I did think, I thought Toronto would have beat them. They were more skilled when we played them back in November. November.
Yeah.
Belleville was kind of more like their Senators, like their parent team, the Senators. Very tough, very under your skin. So that does surprise me that Belleville won 2-1. But it's Toronto. They always kind of choke in the first round, right? But the after activities through the handshake line, I saw Tyler Cool wrote something, but I didn't get a chance to read it. But there was history behind these 2 guys.
There is history. So for those that don't know, Kyle Clifford actually went after a Belleville player in the handshake line, which, like, in the hockey code of conduct, that's a no-no. You do not disrespect the handshake line. That is one of the most storied traditions in hockey. The fact that those teams can battle it out for 7 games and go shake each other's hand afterwards and be civil has always been one of the things that, is cool to see, no matter what series it was. And to do that, like, we've talked about Kyle Clifford when the Griffins played this team, and he's a joke. He's an absolute bum, and just continues to show that. Like, get out of the league at that point, man. You're a washed up NHLer. Get out. Like, there's no room for that. Unacceptable. That happened, and Belleville moves on. Crazy. In the Atlantic Division, Hartford knocked off the Charlotte Checkers 2-1 there. Lehigh Valley, the Philadelphia Flyers affiliate, knocked off the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins 2-0. Also shocked me. That actually has impact on Toledo's next round too, which we'll talk about. And that'll be it for that first round there. The matchups going forward here. In the Central Division, you have Milwaukee and Texas and Grand Rapids and Rockford. That is your Central Division semifinals. In the Pacific Division, you have Coachella Valley versus Calgary. That's going to be an interesting one. Those are 2 very, very good teams. In the Pacific as well, you have Ontario and Abbotsford. So that's the LA Kings and the Vancouver Canucks affiliates. That's going to be another interesting one to watch. In the North Division, you already have some action there where the Rochester Americans and Syracuse Crunch are facing off against each other, and they are tied 1-1 already. The Cleveland Monsters take on the Belleville Senators. That is going to be something to keep an eye on, because I don't know how Cleveland's going to handle the rough and toughness that Belleville brings to the table. If they can shut down their top lines, Belleville might actually have a chance here. It's going to be interesting. In the Atlantic Division, you have Providence facing off with Hartford. And of course, the Hershey Bears taking on the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Rest in peace, Lehigh Valley. You're probably getting swept. Anyways, that is your AHL playoff update. Tons of exciting games so far. Really interesting series in the second round here. This Milwaukee, Texas one is going to be something to watch, especially if Dallas can't figure out how to beat Vegas, because Texas will be fully loaded after that. And I don't know how to feel about that.
This series makes me a little nervous. The weird part on it is that they don't start game 1 till Thursday, and then game 2 is Saturday. So by that time, we could have potentially finished our series and be rested. So it's just like the scheduling on it's just very odd, but
welcome to the AHL.
And it doesn't help either, because I thought Texas was going to go, or Dallas was going to go far in the playoffs, and they're running up against Vegas, who's just kind of. I think they play tonight.
They're tied 2-2. They do play.
Oh.
No, they play tomorrow. They are tied 2-2, but it has been a battle for Dallas to even get back into this. I don't know how they did it. Both, they won both the away games, and Vegas won both of the away games. So
it's not
be interesting
till somebody wins at home in that one.
I mean, there's 2 playoff series in the NHL that could impact this one Central Division semifinal between Nashville and Vancouver, which Vancouver's up 3-1 on them, but their goaltending situation is a big question mark right now with injuries for Vancouver, I should say. And Nashville's got a few guys that Milwaukee would probably love to see back in their lineup too. So that could be interesting. Really what the Griffins need is Nashville and Dallas to figure their lives out, and then this series to go 5 games, and the Griffins need to sweep and get some rest and be well rested and come up against either of these teams, because they're all going to be difficult to beat.
Oh yeah. I mean,
yeah. Go ahead.
Texas makes me nervous, especially if they get their guys back from Dallas like that. They're a fully different team with Logan Stakehoven.
Texas ran through Manitoba in the first round. The first game was a 6-3 win, and the second one was a 2-0 win.
I don't think they liked being beat 8-3 or whatever that score was in their last matchup. So they probably took it right out on them.
Yeah, if I was Manitoba, I probably wouldn't run that one up. Probably would have been a smart decision to not run up that score in your last meetup in the regular season, just to have to face off in the playoffs and get smoked. Oh,
that's terrible.
Yeah, the decisions, guys. Think through these things.
But yeah. Any other ones that you're kind of keeping an eye on?
I'll be keeping an eye on the Cleveland Monsters, just because our friend Elaine Shercliffe covers that team and talks about them a lot, and we like to talk a lot of smack, especially with how our season went against them. I'll keep an eye on that, and I mean, I'll always keep an eye on Coachella and Hershey to see what they do. I mean, they're arguably the 2 best teams in the regular season in the AHL, so we'll see what those both end up being like, and I'm terrified to play either one. So, yay.
Hey, gotta beat the best to be the best.
Yeah, I will feel if the Griffins pull this off, right? If they go 3 games, make this really easy on themselves, I will feel so much better about them going possibly all the way if they can get through this. Some people might look at that and go, it's just Rockford. It's not just Rock. It's one of the hottest teams at the end of the season in the AHL. They were easily one of the best teams in the league at that point. And to get through this, you also got to go through Milwaukee or Texas. Like, yeah, that's going to be a battle, but I think this battle is going to be harder than that battle.
Even with them getting their superstars back?
It depends. As it stands right now, the rosters where they're set, I think this battle is harder than that one. Because the Blackhawks loaded up the Ice Hogs for this. There are so many prospects on this team. It's insane. So, I mean, there's really only one guy in Milwaukee that is rough and tough and stirs the pot. Texas doesn't stir the pot. They just kill you with their offensive abilities, especially when Stakehoven and Bork are in the lineup together. So, it's going to be a close one to watch. If you can get through if you can defend Texas, you can get through their goaltending. It's not the best. Milwaukee, you have to be concerned about getting pushed around and their goaltending. Those are your 2 biggest concerns. So that's what I'm keeping an eye out on. And we'll update you guys as more happens, obviously. And just another year of disappointment in Toronto. That's all I got to say.
Hopefully.
I mean, who knows? Who knows? But we had some junior hockey updates. So, like we mentioned, you and I made the trip over to Saginaw to catch Game 7 between the Sioux Greyhounds and the Saginaw Spirit. What an experience that was!
That was crazy.
It was nice to be able to sit at a game and not have to like analyze it, like we do for every Griffins and Walleye game we watch, to be able to talk about it on here. So we won't have too much in-depth insight on it. Besides, fans were wild and the action on ice was really good.
It was good. It was crazy. It was weird that it was tilted to the other side of the arena, where we didn't sit. So, yeah, that was unfortunate. But yeah, the Dows, they did a lot of upgrades from the last time I remember being there, and
A nice little barn.
yeah, it was a little odd, a little nice,
It's
a little
odd
different.
shape.
Not that I've been in before. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Yost, but it was fun to just like go and like root for both teams. Like I just wanted violence, and I guess there was quite a bit of it in the other game 5, maybe the other series. We got to hear about a lot of Sioux fans traveled. We got to sit right with them, with the police
They
as
travel
well.
well with the police as well.
And we almost saw a couple fights between Saginaw and Sioux fans, so that was to be expected, I thought. And yeah, unfortunate goal was controversial, just like most are, I guess. And yeah, the Sioux got eliminated. Saginaw continues their parade to the Memorial Cup that they're already hosting, so they'll be in it anyways. But they've got a tough matchup now. They play London. They're down 2-1, and on the other, and a lot of people are in the stands were saying London's going to crush them. And so it's surprising that it is as close as it is right now. On the other side of the battle, because it's down to 4 teams, you've got London Knights versus Saginaw Spirit, and then you've got Oshawa Generals versus the North Bay Battalion, and Oshawa is just running away with it. It's 3-0 right now. So I don't know if North Bay is going to come back and make it a series at all, but my guess, based off this is going, it's going to probably be Oshawa Generals versus the London Knights for the O. So that's where we're
Interesting.
at. Yeah, that's where we're at. And then, so I think at that point, my guess would probably be London Knights. They said this team is just stacked with prospects. So I wonder how they match up in the Memorial Cup if it goes to the other side, so they don't have to, like, the host city doesn't play the same team again, or what they
It'd be
do.
interesting to watch. We've never paid close attention to it because it hadn't served much relevancy to us since we started this. So it'll be interesting to see it in our own backyard, essentially here. And I know we'll probably make the trip at least to one game. So
We're gonna try. It ends like the end of the month, so it gets for me it gets tight again. So,
yeah,
but it should be fun. It should be fun. I'm excited, and we got to watch. I mean, you said we didn't analyze, but I analyzed still with Gibson. But
yes, Andrew Gibson, Red Wings draft pick that was playing for the Sioux. He was impressive. I saw a lot that I liked about him, and I'm glad I saw what I liked because it turned out he ended up signing his ELC, and he's currently with the Griffins. So there's that. He's here. I don't know
he's
if he's
here.
staying here. We don't know what that looks like. We don't know enough about contracts to even begin to pretend like we know what's going to go on. Because at one point, it wasn't even said that his ELC would be signed this year. He definitely would be there another year and all this. So we won't analyze it. He's traveling with the team right now, learning, practicing, getting that experience. And he's just another black ace along with, Emmett Finney and all those other guys that are sitting there on the bench right now. Hunter Johannes, guys like that. So
Carter Geilander.
yep, Carter Geilander. Yep, all those guys. So it's interesting. It's good to see that he's here. And everyone's like, "Oh, I want to see him play a game." I don't want to see him play a game. That means something went terribly, terribly, terribly wrong. Let's just leave it the way it is because there's a lot of veteran, well-seasoned defensemen sitting in the press box right now that could play as well. So if we're down to Andrew Gibson starting in a playoff game, we screwed up somewhere.
Yeah, I mean it's It's exciting. It's good that they're doing this. I haven't seen, we haven't paid attention to this enough either, but it's good that they're doing this. That like Wadi's integrating them into the season, into the team, getting them going with their professional life, really. Because they said the main difference between that and here is now you're on your own. So like
Yep.
Wadi spoke about it pregame with Bob, and he said now you're on your own. You had a family, you had a billet family that was paying for things, getting you to and from, and now it's you're on college now. You know, for most people can relate. Go to college now. It's here's your schedule. Here's your food. Here's how you got to manage life and do everything. So I like that he's integrating them in now. This was huge for us to make the playoffs because these guys wouldn't have gotten that experience any other way because their season would have ended and our season would have ended too, and there wouldn't have been any of that time to gel as a team. So I like that he's doing this with all the kids. Now, if like we said, we don't know if he's going to be here, there, or where next year, but he's here with us now, and that's good.
Yeah, I mean, if we had our choice, I would like to see these guys stick around in this league, or be spread between this league and Toledo. Really use Toledo as a developmental tool that it can be used as, and again, we can't guarantee it, but I think that's the way the organization is going to kind of go with this year, and I think that's the right move. I don't think Emmett Finney starts in Grand Rapids next year by any means. But could I see him starting in Toledo next year, lined up against some really seasoned veterans and some other young, exciting talent that they have? 100%. He would be an absolute beast for them. I'd love to see him down there now, even almost. But they've got a really good thing cooking down there. And same for Gibson, and we almost assume Carter Gylander will probably end up there too. I mean, there's a lot of assumptions that can be made about what's going to happen in this offseason. And we'll get there later episodes, and hopefully they're much later, like late June, early July. Like we're still covering real games until that point. So,
For August.
No, we don't play that long. Playoffs are end early June, so
I need a break.
there'll be one in there. Don't worry, it's coming in June. Sorry to disappoint you. But no, I do love what the organization's doing. I'm glad these kids are getting this experience. Like you said, they go from billet families to, all right, you're a man now. You're out on your own. Have fun. And granted, they're not on their own. They're surrounded by a bunch of guys that are going to take them under their wing, care about them, and show them the way. And the veteran leadership on this Griffins team is who I'd want my kid learning from. Like they're all just stand-up guys who are going to show them the right things to do in this league. So it's exciting, and I hope they absorb every ounce that they get from it.
Yeah, I mean, and we left one guy off. You said they're a man now, right? Like we didn't even talk about Nate Danielson and his performance last night.
Well, because we were talking the OHL, but let's jump into that here because Nate the Great looks it's not okay. Someone did the side-by-side picture from his draft day and the picture from this press conference after the game last night. That's not the same dude.
No.
That's a man. Like that kid is growing up very quickly over this season, it looks like. And poor Amadeus, even when if Nate comes to Grand Rapids, Amadeus is still gonna have to struggle on the playoff field compared to Nate Danielson. My God. Yeah, that kid's on a tear right now, man.
Man, I wish the season would end so we could see him here, or at least practicing with the team. But no, good for Nate. Tearing it up. Was it three assists last night?
3 assists last night, and I've seen clips of 2 of them, and they were just truly elite playmaking plays. Like he's going to be an elite playmaker for this organization. Is he going to be an elite scorer? Who knows? But playmaking ability and face-off skills, he's got them. We're good there. We got everything we need there. If he puts on a bunch of size in this offseason, oh my God, he's going to be a monster.
Yeah, I can't believe how different he looks between the two. And we were looking at this. And we kind of like Prince George came out pretty quick on him. They got the one game lead on him, and then Portland's came back, stormed back 2-1 now. So I mean, I have a feeling that they'll probably end up winning this based off the last 2 games. I think they kind of figured them out. They're going to be able to win the rest of this. So it's just like maybe we see him in the Memorial Cup. Like I wish he was here though. Like I truly wish he was here because I think he would make a huge difference in the lineup. I don't think he'd be a black ace at that point.
I don't know. selfishly, I would love to see him here too, but at the same time, I want him to gain that deep playoff run experience in the WHL. I want him to play through the tough tournament that is the Memorial Cup. Like, you saw what that did for like a guy like Sebastian Cosa's development, like going through all of that. Like, it was so huge for him, and a center who's got the abilities that he has. I want to see him go get that same experience. Like, I think he needs to do that. I do not want to see him in the WHL next season. He needs to be in the AHL next season. He needs to be in Grand Rapids. Sorry, Detroit. But again, he could look what he's already done. He could blow the doors down in training camp and preseason and fight his way into the Detroit lineup, and then that makes things real interesting.
I mean, you could put him center and put, Ammo on the wing or Marco on the wing. Oh.
No,
You don't like that? All right.
I don't like taking in one center and taking two out and putting them on the wing.
Oh, no, not both of them. Just one or the other.
Oh, I thought you were saying build a line of.
That would be kind of interesting.
No, I don't like that. I don't like that. I do, but I don't. Anyways, yeah, he's doing good stuff over there, and it's exciting to see, man. I'm really excited for what that kid's going to turn into being.
I'm excited. I want him here. I just
he's in Grand Rapids. He's got to be in GR.
Sweep him out, and then our last guy too just won a championship today, Palika. I mean, over in Sweden. So I mean, it's everybody's winning champions. Wins ours. Like, this is like, now it's down to us in Toledo to get this finished. So good things.
I want to talk so much about Toledo, but we got to wait till the Toledo episode this week. But there's so much good happening there. It'll be good. It'll be a good hype episode before Friday's game does kick off. Again, we won't get too much into them, but just so everybody is aware, game 1 and 2 against Wheeling is Friday and Saturday this week in Toledo. If you got nothing going on Saturday, the Griffins are off that night, head on down there. We wish we could make it down there. It's work getting in the way again. But at the same time, it's worth the experience. I know I talked to a couple of Griffins fans who were at the Toledo game in Kalamazoo on Friday when they swept, and they, after explaining it to them, bought tickets to go see the Fish. I think it was game 1 or 2. This coming weekend. So I hope they have a good time I'm assuming it was game 2, since they'll be at game 3 for the Griffins on Friday. So hopefully they'll probably be down there. And yeah, I want to see more and more people down there. If you don't have tickets yet, good luck, because they're pretty hard to find. But
my guess is they're sold out.
I would guess too, but keep an eye out for future games and keep an eye on the series as well. It's something definitely worth watching. They have been absolutely incredible so far this playoffs. So with that, man, anything else to add this week?
I don't think so. I'm excited for this pig roast. I'm excited I got Friday off, so I'll be down there early. If you find me, I'll give you a sticker. But let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this series up. Let's go. I'm just excited. Playoff hockey. Nothing better than that. And I think we're gonna try to do Pepinos, right, for next round.
Maybe we'll figure it out. We gotta not stretch ourselves too thin next round. We can't do that.
We never figure it out.
this first week of the playoffs, I went full bore, and I think Saturday or Sunday night, I just hit a wall. I was like, okay, new week, here we go again. But it's not as intense, thank God. But yeah, hopefully, I know there was a good turnout for that watch party, so maybe we will get down there and check that out. With that, we'll wrap up this. I was going to call it a Monday episode, but we're recording it on a Tuesday, and it's going to be posted Wednesday. So this random Wednesday episode of the Hockey Town West podcast. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Shout out to our sponsors, Everything Hockey. Go to everythinghockey.com. Use code WEST. Save 10% on your order. And go to DraftKings as well. When you're betting with them, use code THPN. Shout out to them. And shout out to the Hockey Podcast Network for being great partners. With that, thank you, everyone. Go Griffins, go Walleye, and we'll talk to you all on Friday.
Love you all. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockey Town West podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeyTownWPod and your host, Nick at GR Hockey Guy and Brandon at Brandon GR Hockey.